everybody. It's that time again. It's time for Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. My name is Deborah, and I'm coming to you from here on my family farm in the foothills of the Arkansas Ozarks, where I like to do all the crafts. I knit, I crochet, I sew, I quilt, I make baskets, I make jewelry. I'll try any craft once or twice if I like it. I am also a university professor at a local four-year regional university where I teach courses to physics majors and to general education people, and I am a docent at our planetarium. And last but not least, I am a farmer. I am a family farmer here on my farm where I raise grass-fed beef cattle, I raise horses. I have a potbelly pig named Penny. I have a retirement herd of miniature horses, miniature donkeys, and a miniature mule named Pumpkin who thinks she rules the roost. And as you can tell from my drowsy little co-host Willie here, I am fur kid mom to several dogs and cats, including an outside clouder of barn cats. So if any or all of that sounds interesting to you, come join me on Diary of Physicist Farmgal during an ice storm. Yay! If you're looking for me on social media, you can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Doc Firewoman. There is also a Facebook group for the podcast that you can join to share things that you're working on. There is a Ravelry group for the podcast, and I do have a Ko-fi set up if you want to help support the podcast, to help support paying for the app that I use to edit the videos. And as I've switched off of iMovie to an app called Splice, there is a cost to that every month, and then it just gives me more powerful ability to do things. And then also to maintain the Zoom group, there is a Zoom room that you can join in. It's open regularly. You can log in, or we do have some special events where we have like crafternoons or whatever, intentional meetups, but you are welcome to join in anytime. Yeah, and right now the only make-along that I am running is the Year of Warmth Mal. The Year of Warmth Mal is a make-along where we are making hats to donate. So this is a way to stash bust particularly our acrylic yarns, because those are better for donation hats because they can be washed in the laundry. But it is intended to be for donation items, particularly hats. Apparently we're having a fight back there. For hats or mittens or whatever you want to make to donate if hats aren't your jam. It's just hats are fast and are a good stash buster. So I'll put details about all that down below where you can participate. I do have a thread open on the Ravelry group, or you can use the hashtag Year of Warmth Mal. There is a featured pattern from my friend Melissa called the Girlfriend versus Boyfriend, and I'm going to be giving away copies of that. So I will choose from the people who posted in the thread on the last video, and I will send 5, I think I said 5 or 10, maybe 10, I don't remember, I'll go back and look, 10 copies of that pattern out to people who are interested in participating in the make-along. So that is our social media update. I will tell you, just to kind of prime you, my pronouns are she, her, hers. And in this house, we believe in all the things. Black Lives Matter, water is life, love is love, healthcare is a right for everyone, living wage lifts all, just like Sarah from Notorious Needle, her we believe Sal, that pretty much is my doctrine. So, yeah, so that's where we're at. But anyway, if any of all that's good for you, just keep hanging out. If not, probably not still here anyway if you've watched any of my other videos. So let's move on to finished objects. I do have a couple of finished objects to share with you this week. I have one big one, so we're going to start with this. This is the Indigo Fisherman's Beanie. This is a hat pattern. I believe it's free on Ravelry, but it's modeled after a Gansey hat pattern where it's got all these designs on it. Now, this is a scrappy hat. I started it with this blue yarn. This was a ball that I don't know where I got it from. I think somebody gave it to me. It was not enough to complete the hat, so I used up scraps of other yarns that I had. So I think it turned out super cute, and I don't know if I'm going to keep it or if I'm going to give it to someone that I know, you know, but we'll see. I mean, I knitted it with the intention of giving it to him, so we'll see. Every January, maybe I'll give him a hat. I don't know. But anyway, so my next finished object is my shawl. Let me look up the pattern name of this shawl so I can share it with you. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. This is a crocheted pattern. Get down here. It's called the Alethea shawl or shawlette, and this is a crocheted shawl. I need to block it. I haven't blocked it or done any of that. I just wove the ends in a little bit ago, but I do need to block it. It's just too cold and wet here to block anything, to get it to dry in any kind of timely way. So this is the Alethea shawlette, and as you can see down there at the bottom, it's a little wonky. I need to block it out. But I crocheted this out of some Caron's cakes, cotton cakes that my friend Sandy, who has passed away now, kindly gifted me. So it looks kind of like Neapolitan ice cream. I think it's called Rose Whisper. It was the colorway that it was, but I haven't blocked it out, but you can already kind of see the design here, and it will block out quite a bit larger because I'm going to block it pretty aggressively to open up the pattern. But I just finished that, but again, I'm waiting on warmer, drier weather to do anything. Now, my big one. I have finished. Now, it is still covered in pet hair, and it needs all the ends woven in, but I have finished my Unbearable sweater. Yay. I have finished. This was supposed to be the Unbearable hoodie by Les Garçons Knits, or Max the Knitter. I did not do the hoodie. I just did a regular sweater, but I need to weave in all the ends. I need to de-hair all the pet hair and all the Deborah hair off of it. But it is done. It is done and ready to be washed and blocked to make that color work really pop out and sing. So I am very proud of this. This is my first color work sweater. It does pucker just a little bit down here, but I think when I block it, that'll go away. But next time I knit on DK color work, I'm probably going to knit on a size larger needle than what it calls for, just to make that a little bit easier. And I've still got to like block it out. To my friend Nancy suggested pressing it with a warm iron from the back to make the color work pop out evenly, because like you can see some of my stitches are still hiding there, but they'll show up. But yeah, so this was a very fun knit. It did take me a long time to finish it because I basically didn't work on it for almost a year. I started it in February of 22 for Jessica's Color Your Stash knit along, and then once I got the color work done, I put it down for almost a year, and then I picked it back up and started on it again, and I have now finished it. Probably more like a year and a half, to be honest. So it is knit with Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and the colorways are Sport, I think this is called Papaya Heather, and then this is Dove Heather. So yay. Now, so I just knit a regular neckband on it and didn't do the hood. So yay, I'm finished with it. I'm very excited about that. So those are my 3 finished objects. So now let's move on and talk about works in progress. So I haven't done any cross stitching. I said I was going to try to do some cross stitching, and it just did not happen. But now that I have heat, the saga of the gas line, $3,000 later, is now over. $3,000 for this particular permutation. Total about $10,000 for everything on something that wasn't even my fault. But we're not going to go there because I've got to quit giving energy to that situation because it's exhausting me. But at any rate, so I'm going to show you the 2 works in progress that I have given attention to this last little while since I last talked to you, which I believe was on New Year's Day. So the first thing that I will show you are my socks. I am knitting the Cottywomple socks by Knitting Expat. These are from the Wanderlust Sock Club, and these were my Christmas Eve cast on. And I take these to work. I almost exclusively knit on these while I'm at work, although I think today when I get done with this recording, I'm probably going to show these some love and try to get them up to the marking for the heel. So yeah, this is where I'm at. These are being knit in Knit Picks Felici in a colorway called Mountain Mist. I think the last time you saw them, they were way down here. So I have knit all of this on them. It's an 8-row repeat for the front of the sock, and pretty easy to, I'm getting better at intuiting what's supposed to happen, but I still do need to look at my pattern. So yeah, so these are my cottywomple socks. So pretty happy with that. Cute little design there. I think I've got I need to put about 2 more repeats on before I'm ready to mark for my heel. I'm going to do an afterthought heel on these. So, yay. Then my other one is my New Year's Day cast on, and I think you saw just the very beginnings of this, but this is, where are we at? Oh, yeah, this is where you last saw it. This is the PhD candidate sweater. This is by Dear Ingenue. This is the back of it. So the last time I showed it to you, it was up here. I have now finished the color work yoke and have separated for the sleeves, and there are 2 color work charts below the sleeve separation. This is the first one, just a checkerboard, and I'm almost done with it. And then there's one more design, kind of more like these up here, and then that is it for it's a crop sweater, so you knit a little bit more in the pink, and then that'll be it. And then there's some color work on the sleeves as well. So this is being knit in Plymouth Yarn's Galway Chunky. This was yarn that Shirley gave me. So this is going to be an incredibly warm sweater because it's chunky yarn. So it's going to be very, very warm, but that's okay. I like warm. Warm is good. I like to be warm. So these are the 2, this and then my socks are the 2 things that have been getting the love from me besides the things that I finished this last little while. So that's all I'm going to show you. So those are my 2 works in progress, and we'll come back and talk just a little bit about future plans. Okay, so I have a couple of future plans that I want to share with you. My goal this year is to try to knit more sweaters because I like to be warm. That's what it boils down to. But I have so many beautiful sweater quantities that were given to me. And in fact, this is actually some Red Heart Super Saver that I got from my friend Sandy. And I have 5 skeins of this. So I have about 1,800 yards of this. And it's this newer brand that's a little bit softer. And I just turned my Coke over. I did that last time too, I think. This is about 1,800 yards. And I know some people feel some kind of way about acrylic yarn, but I will tell you, out here on the farm, it is very useful because it keeps me very warm. I've been wearing my Saturday morning sweater to go out and do chores, and it keeps me very warm. And then when it gets dirty, I can throw it in the washing machine. So, you know, if you want to throw shade at acrylic, go right ahead. But I think it definitely has its place in my world. But I want to knit a sweater called the Barnyard Guernsey sweater. I'll try to put a picture in right here. It is a pattern by Nora Gohan. It was published in 2017, but it is a free pattern on Ravelry. It comes in a variety of sizes. I believe it is, let me go look here. It goes up to a 3XL, which is to a 53-inch bust. So it's not super size inclusive, but it does hit my size. It is a sweater that I think for plain yarn like this, that doesn't have any speckling or any pattern or gradation to it. I think it is a good choice for this yarn because it has some different textures in it. And it looks like a quite warm, versatile sweater for me. It's got sort of a mock turtleneck on it, and the hem at the bottom is a rolled hem, like a garter stitch rolled hem. So it looks like something that would be very easy to wear, but still fancy enough that if I wanted to wear it for work, that I could. So I have 5 skeins of this. This is a colorway called Rose Parfait, or Perfect Pink. And yeah, so I'm going to knit that sweater. I was going to knit a flax out of it, but I've decided that I would rather my next flax be out of something with a little bit more interest to the yarn. So this seemed like a good choice for that. Then my other project that I want to get started today is a pattern called A Cabling We Will Go. It's a hat by Benjamin Matthews. Calls for worsted weight yarn. And so I am going to use, this is also some yarn that my friend Sandy gave me, some of this Patton's classic wool worsted, to knit that out, because I think it will really make those cables stand out. So it's a hat that's it's got bands of cabling around it, and so I thought that this would be a good choice for that pattern. Calls for 168 yards. This is 210, so I should have plenty of yarn to make that hat. I've pulled out some other of her yarns that I'm probably going to knit. Some of these I don't know what they are, so I don't know if they'll be appropriate for charity knits or not, but I'm going to go ahead and knit them up in charity with the idea of donating them to charity, or crochet them up hats. Okay, so those are my, so those are my future plans. And now we'll get back to talking about, we're going to move on now with I don't have any acquisitions, so we're going to talk about science. Okay, well, what's going on campus? Not a lot. Well, we had the first day of school, then we had snow, and for us, 6 inches of snow means everything stops. I had told my students based on the weather, and we also had bitterly cold temperatures. That was the main part of the puzzle, was bitter cold temperatures where the wind chill was in the negative digits, the lows were in the single digits, and the highs were in the teens, and that is way colder than what we are used to here. So I had told my students the first day of school, we were out for the Martin Luther King observance on that Monday, and then we came back. We're to come back Tuesday through Friday, and it snowed 6-7 inches here on Monday, and it was bitterly cold, and they didn't get my road cleared until Thursday. So I had told my students that first day of class, I said, we will be asynchronous next week. I said, I don't care what the campus does. I am not leaving my house because I don't have any heat. Until I get some heat established, I am not leaving my house until I get heat when it's this cold. So anyway, so we met asynchronously. Then last night we had an ice storm, and it's now changed over to rain here, but we had about 1/2 inch of ice, freezing rain, on the roads and on the tree limbs here, and I'm not driving on that. So I had told my students we will be asynchronous tomorrow. Then the campus ended up not opening. They're not opening until noon today for safety reasons. So both of my classes are before noon. So I didn't have class. So I'll get to see them again on Wednesday. One thing that I will talk about, I went to my gynecologist for my yearly checkup, and people who have uteruses and cervixes and things like that, you need to go get your stuff seen about. You don't want to rashly court disaster. Yes, I know it's not comfortable, but it's better than getting very sick when there's something that you could prevent. So this is my PSA. Go get your yearly exams done, whether it's for the for uterus havers or for prostate havers. If I have any of those listeners on here, don't swallow your embarrassment and go get your self looked at and make sure you're okay. But because I am a woman of a certain age, and no longer am able to have children, we started talking about the next half of my life and how I want the next half of my life to look and how I want to maintain my health. And my gynecologist, his daughter is an internal medicine doctor in Little Rock, and she had recommended this book to him. So I purchased this book, and a lot of it's about movement, about keeping yourself moving, and about what is healthy for your particular body, and how to keep yourself healthy in terms of what you eat and how you move, and all of those kinds of things. So I'm going to try reading this and see what it has to say. I have also purchased myself a pill organizer that I have put my stuff in for a month at a time. One of the things that my gynecologist recommended to me is a vitamin D supplement, because as we get older, even though we get out in the sun, and I'm outside a fair bit with the farm, our body loses the ability to metabolize that vitamin D that the sun gives us. So we need to take vitamin D supplements, and that helps with seasonal affective disorder, which I do have a little bit of that. So I bought this because what will happen is, because I do take an antidepressant, I have not been I've never shied away from talking about mental health on here. I do take an antidepressant, and I do take a high blood pressure medicine because my family has small vessel disease, and doesn't matter what I eat, doesn't matter how much salt I eat, doesn't matter how thin I am, I have to take high blood pressure tablet. But it is well managed with that. But sometimes what will happen is the dogs will distract me and I'll forget if I've taken it or not. So I bought this pill case to organize my stuff for a month at a time. And I figured this is also a form of self-care. And self-care is a sacred act, and self-care is a form of resistance. So in here I have my supplements and vitamins that I take, plus my antidepressant and my high blood pressure medicine. And I laid it out for a month at a time to be able to keep track of that. So it's a good way for me to keep track if I've taken my meds or not, and I'm hoping that'll keep me on a better routine with those. So that is all the science I have for you guys today. I don't have a science sprinkle, I'm sorry, but I will try to have one prepared for next time. So we're going to move on and talk about farm life. So the farm, I've already kind of mentioned it. We have had some pretty significant winter weather here on the farm the last few days, but luckily I have been able to stay in front of it because I have reduced the cattle herd. I've still got plenty of hay, which is always a comfort when you're worried about things, to know that you're not going to run out of hay for your animals. And then also, I've been able to, like I said, got heat reestablished. I mean, it has cost me an arm and a leg, which is incredibly frustrating, and there's really no legal recourse that I can have against those people that would make it worth the stress of having worry about what they would do to my place. So, you know, I'm back in debt again. I don't like that, but you know what? The farm is almost paid off, and it will all work itself out. It will be fine, because you got to have heat. And you got to be able to cook. Part of my health issues that I've had, just not taking very good care of myself, have been because I haven't been able to cook. So I've been eating a lot of fast food, and that's not good. But farm is doing okay. I have been feeding Gusty and Angel a little bit extra because they had lost a little bit of weight. So I've been feeding them a little bit extra. Just trying to stay on top of making sure everybody has hay and water right now. And that's mainly what's been going on. I do need to get my barn worked on. I had a door get broken in a storm, and I've got my neighbor is supposed to fix that. I traded him some heifers, and he's supposed to do some work for me. And yes, I filled my cup back up. Hopefully I won't dump it out this time. Hopefully I won't dump it out this time. So yeah, we've been doing some walking around on the farm, looking at trees and trying to decide kind of the next steps. What's going to happen once I get the place paid for? Am I going to spend a bunch of money renovating this house, or am I going to save up a little bit of money and try to build myself something different and then turn this into the classroom space for the education center that I want? So these are all things that I'm thinking about as I'm moving forward here on the farm. You know, I don't know that I'll ever have all the birds and the rabbits and things again because it is a lot of work. Maybe someday, maybe eventually I will do that. Right now, I think my energy is better spent on other things. And right now, I'm very grateful I don't have all of those animals as cold as it's been, because that was just so much more work trying to keep them okay in the cold and making sure their water wasn't frozen and everything. With the water troughs, I can just go outside with a sledgehammer and break the ice on everybody's water, and they're pretty okay. All the animals are doing really well. Willie has gone back to bed. He's like, no, it's too cold. I'm going back to bed. But all the animals are doing very well. Sir Pickles the Brave is due to get his snip done next month sometime. Get that out of the way. And other than that, I think we're doing all right out here. You know, I'm working on putting together the ideas for my next book, which is going to be about rocks and crystals. And the Weather Magic book comes out on April the 8th, which is the day of the eclipse here, which I love that. So, yeah, hopefully if you're interested in that book, you can go find it as a pre-order on Llewellyn. I'll put that down in the links below if you're interested in pre-ordering it. And hopefully for some of y'all, I will see you at some events. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on in my life outside of campus. So we'll end up with a few final thoughts. So I've been working on some shadow work, right? Shadow work is where you look at the sides of the human psyche or the witch self or whatever you want to call it, that are not all peace, love, and light. They're where your anger and your jealousy and your betrayal and your envy and really, just the things that we don't like to think about or talk about or admit having feelings as humans. And I've also been rewatching Northern Exposure because Northern Exposure is now streaming on Amazon Prime. And one of my favorite philosophers is Chris in the Morning. I had a crush on Chris in the Morning back when the show originally aired. I have carried that torch for all these years, and I still have a crush on Chris in the Morning. In fact, Joel kind of reminds me of Chris in the Morning a little bit, the way he talks. So one of the things that I have been working on are some issues and feelings toward people in my life. And my therapist said, the thing that agitates you about them are things about yourself that you worry about. Like not meeting your potential or not having value or whatever. And those are things within yourself that you need to work on. So find out what about that person activates you or triggers you, if you want to use that word. And then look at yourself and see where that same feeling is coming from. And I've been doing some work around that in the cacao ceremonies. I talked about those, I think. I did one this last week. And in my therapy and in my journaling and in my Reiki work and even in my yoga work. So there's a great quote that Chris reads on the air. He's the DJ for this radio station in this little town. And here's the quote. It says, "There is a dark side to each and every human soul. We wish we were Obi-Wan Kenobi, and for the most part we are, but there's a little Darth Vader in all of us. Thing is, this ain't no either or proposition. We're talking about dialectics, the good and the bad merging into us. You can run, but you can't hide. My experience, face the darkness, stare it down, own it. As Brother Nietzsche said, being human is a complicated gig. So give that old dark night of the soul a hug. Howl the eternal yes." So that's where my work has been lately. Where's your work? Where have you been working? The shadow self is where all your growth and all your healing comes from. And you can ignore it and not do that work and probably live pretty good existence, but I want more. So that's where I've been, working. So I hope you're finding your work and you're getting your work done wherever that may be for you. And I'll see y'all soon. Peace out, y'all. Bye.